are powers on Earth too hidden to be seen, and conspiracies too vast to comprehend. For years, the world has seen fact distorted, reality manipulated, and the truth concealed. Join the Pierre Sebac podcast to uncover the real meanings behind ancient aliens and their symbolism.
Hi, this is Pierre Sebac, unlocking the keys to the mysteries. Now today I want to look at a class of deity known in the Babylonian as the Dagon, and so we're going to have a look at some of these etymologies and see how they also interconnect with another type of deity within the Babylonian tradition, the Anadotai. So first of all, we can say that the Dagon within Palestinian depiction is represented as half human and half fish, and in this respect the Dagon really is playing into this idea of this stitched, woven or grafted lineage, which I speak about in my book Holographic Culture. Now the divinity Dagon is coming from the Hebrew noun dag, which is a fish, and this is really a diptych paranomasia on the Greek word drakon. So Dagon or Dagon is a cryptic wordplay on drakon, and again they are understood to be related to the same tradition, and the Dagon is really one of the key deities which are accredited with the development of the fertility cults found throughout the Middle East and the Mediterranean. And again, we're dealing here with a private discourse, so the language here is often allegorical, allosagoria, other speaking, and the fish god Dagon therefore is registered within the Hellenistic lexicon with Dagon, which is corn. So again, this is going back into the fertility cults, but the etymology of corn is used to connote the stars, or in this respect the fiery star Sirius. So if you can imagine, the seed or corn is equated with a fiery star and is going back into the traditions of panspermia, this idea of the planting of mankind upon the face of the earth. And it's very much a common motif. The seed is a common motif which is used to denote the dragon, and in particular the dragon in context to panspermia, which is the planting of seed upon the earth. Now, according to Apollodorus, the translation by the priest Berosus, the Dagon, which is this type of fish deity, they can be understood to be a type of semi-daemon, which again, that this would make sense because they are represented as half human and half fish, and so therefore they are found personified within Greek mythology as the fish god Triton. Now the etymology of Triton again is a corruption on the word of Titan, which is a giant, and again within the Greek the transliteration of Titan is very closely grouped together with Taton, which is used in the Greek as an alternative transliteration of Satan. So therefore the fish god Triton is represented as this human fish-like creature which can be understood to be this grafted or stitched bloodline. So the Triton or the Dagon can be understood to be a type of demigod, and therefore the Dagon discloses a class of Titan, a being which is transposable in the Hebrew mysteries with the Nephilim, which are the giants, from the root word Nephar, which is a giant, and again the giants are understood to be this grafted bloodline. So that's essentially the symbolism of the Dagon, but the Dagon is very closely related to the symbolism of the Anadotai, in the singular, in the Greek anadotus, the repulsive one. Now the anadotus, the repulsive one, is an amphibian deity, and as we've mentioned before, the deities are typically represented with words which are associated with fear. So for example, there is this connection with the seraphim, with seraph in the Old Semitic Raph, which is fear, but we're finding these word plays also within the Babylonian traditions of the anadotus, the repulsive ones. Now, the repulsive one is also known as Musaras, which literally means an abomination. And again, I would argue that this suggests that the Anadotai are similar to the grade of seraphim, a divinity or demonic being, which are reptilian or fearful in their external form. Now, again, we could argue that obviously representing the gods as being ugly, terrifying, fearful, that although that this is incongruous, we would say that the representation of a loathsome god or a monstrous god, it is on the surface a very unusual description for a god which were revered historically throughout the ancient world. And again, I would argue that this shows that this is a very truthful description of the original gods, that they were termed to be very ugly in their appearance, hence the Babylonian word Musaras, an abomination. So we're seeing that the gods are frightening, they are abhorrent, they are repugnant, and this is a very common idea which is shown throughout Babylonian and Greek symbolism. Now, etymologically, the title Anadotus, a repugnant one, is consistent with the definition of a deity or an entity, and again, these entities or deities are considered to be fearsome. And as I mentioned in previous videos, there is this correspondence between theos, a god, and dios, which is fright, and so therefore there is this symmetry between terminology for a god who are identical with fear. And again, this idea that a god is symmetrical with fear is also found with the daemons as well. So we've got this connection between a daemon and its attribution with deimos, which is fear. And again, this idea is very much compatible with the Anadotai, the repulsive ones. This idea that these deities are somehow ugly in their appearance, that they're malformed entities, that they're unusual, that they are described as reptilian in appearance. But again, when we go back into the English etymologies also, we find that there is this etymological comparison with the grey aliens, and so in English we would say that the same comparison would be grey and gross. Now, when we look at the etymology of gross, we find that it is from the Old French root gros, which is large, and it's rendered in the late Latin as grossus, thick. So in the context outlined of the grey alien, who obviously they're reported with these large oversized heads, but by definition they are thought to be gross in their appearance, and this in the original context would denote one who is unattractive, one who is bloated, therefore one who is repulsive. So when we summarize the etymologies of the deities, we can say the following. We can say that the Anadotai, which is a type of fish deity, which is consistent with the Dagon, that the Anadotai are consistent with Anadotus, the repugnant ones. Again, similarities are found within the Greek with theos, god, and dios, fright. We said that there was a connection also with Yahweh and Yahweh, which is fright. But similarly also within the Greek with the daemons also. We have a daemon, which is a semi-divine, and deimos, which is fear. Or again, within the Hebrew, we have the seraphim, which are the highest order of angels. But again, there is this connection with the Old Semitic root wrath, which is fear. And that's essentially the connection between the Anadotai and the Dagon, and how they interconnect with both the daemons and also with the deities. This is Pierre Sabak. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, then please subscribe to my channel. Please also give me a thumbs up also. I would ask that if you are interested in my work, then please go to my website and purchase a book, Holographic Culture or the Murder of Reality, which can be found at Pierre Sabak Books. Thank you for listening. Let's try and make this a better world. Thank you very much. Thank you.